It's Nikki here from Transport Evolved. First up, a quick disclaimer, because I'm getting fed up with people making silly comments on the live streams. This is a live stream. It's going to be a live stream, and it's going to tackle the staff car. I'm going to be giving you an update on the staff car. This is not scripted. If you don't want a live stream, if you don't want to watch this live stream, then don't watch the live stream. Don't leave snide comments about the quality of the channel or anything else. If you don't want to watch this live stream, stop watching right now, because I'm going to give you a real life update on the Bolt EV, which is back at the tyre place. As you can see here, we are having the summer tyres put on. If you've got questions about the Bolt EV, please feel free to ask, because we will answer. So this is Artemis, our 2017 Chevrolet Bolt LT, so it's the entry-level model. It does have the comfort package, so it has the heated front steering wheel and the heated front seats, cloth interior. It has the optional DC quick charge package as well. Good evening to those of you who are watching in the UK. This has the optional DC quick charge package, which you can see there. We have done, yeah, it is a bit windy. I'm sorry. We have done somewhere in the region of 10,000 miles on this car, which is not too bad. The majority of those miles have been in the winter, on winter tyres. We put a new set of Nokian Hakapelita R2s on this car, just like we did the Leaf. And so far the car's done pretty well. There are some paint scratches, just as we would see in other times. So we've got a few scratches developing here that need to be buffed out. This one's quite deep. That one will need some extra work. These should come out. I did clean the car yesterday, believe it or not, but it's already covered in a fine layer of dust. This is since yesterday, which is kind of crazy, really, if you consider I've just driven it to town and back. So this is just the dust from driving it down the motorway and back, or the freeway, as we like to say in the US. So I can actually show you, we've got the winter tyres, the summer tyres are ready to come off. Now, this is a really interesting thing. I'm going to show this to you before they actually put these tyres on. These are the new tyres from these are the stock tyres, the energy saver tyres that come with the Bolt EV. As you can see, they're nearly new. They're Michelin energy savers. They've got about 1,000 miles on them, but inside they've got this little sticky compound. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. So there's like this little sticky compound, and this is self-sealing. It's a Bolt self-sealing tyre, or rather it's made by Michelin, and so that will be going back on the Bolt over the summer. Interestingly, it takes the same size tyres as the Bolt EV, and if you watched the Nissan Leaf live stream the other day, you'll notice I talked about the little doggy hammock that we use for both of our cars to keep our rear seats nice. Now, we could get some steel wheels and I could just swap them over, but honestly I quite like having the alloys on in the winter. So let's see. I'm just going to see what all your messages are saying, all you're saying. DC quick charge, how long does it take? Well, so this car will charge at up to 80 kilowatts. I do apologise. I'm going to try and find somewhere where the wind is not so strong. This car will charge at up to 80 kilowatts. But at the moment there's only 50 kilowatt charging stations locally, so the fastest this will ever charge at the moment is 50 kilowatts. And unfortunately, when we do long distance trips down to see family members, we are charging, unfortunately, at 20 to 25 kilowatts, which is not so good. Hi, am I still high on my mileage? We are. We are currently at 9,800 and some miles, and the charging station that we have at home is a level 2 charging station. It's the same charging station we use for the Nissan Leaf. This car also comes with a 110 charger, and depending on who gets home first and who needs to use their car first, one of us will plug into the 110 volt and one of us will plug into the 240 volt level 2. And I generally get preference on the level 2 because my car's got a bigger battery pack. So there we go. At the moment I'm charging it up every day. I charge it up to 80% or 90%. The Bolt EV has something called hill departure mode, I think it's called. And what it means is that the car doesn't ever charge to 100% if you have this mode enabled. Hill Reserve is what it's called. Hilltop Reserve, thank you. We have Hilltop Reserve and we enable it all the time on our car unless I'm doing a long distance trip, and then I turn it off. And what Hilltop Reserve does is it leaves about 10% at the top of the battery. So if you live on a hill and you want to go downhill, you can use the regenerative braking as normal. For overnight charge, how far does 120 volts get you at 8 hours? Well, it will replenish the 40 miles or so that I do in the course of a day, if I'm doing that. But as I said in my previous video, honestly, you need to really invest in a level 2 charger if you've got a car that travels more than about 70 miles per charge. Now, something that someone's going to pick up here is that we do charge this car every single night, and a lot of people ask, why do you charge this car every single night? The battery pack doesn't need it, and you can travel, 200 miles on a charge. Why don't you just do 200 miles and then recharge it? Isn't that better on the battery pack? Well, there's two reasons for that. The first reason is that we live in earthquake territory, earthquake zone, and so we plug the car in and we charge it up so that if anything happens, we've got enough power. We've got 60 kilowatt hours or maybe 50 kilowatt hours if we don't go to 100%, that we can use to run the house and keep the house running, keep the refrigerator running, etc, etc. The other reason is that we have family members at the moment with potential emergency medical needs, and so having a car ready to go. That's the other reason why we chose this and got rid of the RAV, because we needed a car that we could just jump in and drive when we needed to. Someone asked me how much it cost overnight. I think at the moment the cost of electricity where I live is about I would want to say 15 cents per kilowatt hour. I may be off, and so that's going to be less than $1 a day, less than $1. Does that mean you can run the house off the Bolt? No, it doesn't mean we can run the house off the Bolt. What we do is we use a 12 volt inverter that we plug in, or we attach to the battery, and then we leave the car in the garage, and that gives us 1 kilowatt out if we need. Now, someone was asking, what does the 110 volt charger give you? It gives you 1.5 kilowatts. So not a huge amount. But I use the 2 kilowatt most of the time. Sorry, the level 2 most of the time. Question was above Nikki. Question was, is it possible? It was! It is possible. It is possible to run your house off the Bolt, but you do. I made a video on it with our Leaf. It is possible, but what you have to do is you have to connect a 12 volt mains inverter. Maybe someone could put the link to that in this chat, because obviously I can't find it. But you can actually just plug your car in and run your car off it. As long as you've got, things. Is uphill challenging? I don't understand. No, not off the cigarette lighter. You connect it to the battery. You connect it to the 12 volt battery, and then you leave the car running, and that's how you do it. So there we go. Now, in terms of power, I mean, this thing's got 200 horsepower, which is more than enough. This is 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds. So, It's very good. Very good indeed. So, I mean, I like this car. It's very... I'm going to actually sit inside until they come and get it. It's got some nice things. When will a national charging network be available for the Bolt? Well, there already is one. GM doesn't need one because they already exist. So, you know, I could go long distance with this if I need, but if that's a veiled, you know, question, then no cool. I'm going to have to get out now because they're going to move my car. Evie, go. Thank you. Here we go. So my car is going to go and have its tyres put on now. So we're going to take the winter tyres off and then I'll put the summer tyres on. As I say, I'm sorry that it's a little noisy. Nope. Trying to get my car running is always fun. Here we go. And I use ChargePoint. I also use EVgo. If I'm going up to Seattle, I'll use EVgo. If I go up to if I go down to Washington or California, then I use the ChargePoint ones. You might notice here, actually, let me walk up here. You might notice that we've got a tow bar in the back of this car. And the tow bar, it's not actually a tow bar, it's a hitch for mounting bike carriers and whatnot, which is very good. You'll also note that this car is kind of interesting in which it turns on the reversing light. So there we go. When you turn it off so you can see. And it's also got a very neat trick, which is when the boot is up, these lights here turn on. I don't know if you can see that. When the boot is up, because the lights are on the tailgate, when the boot is lifted up, the lights on the tailgate activate. And then when you shut the boot, those lights will go back off again. It's very clever. Hey there! Where do you decide to fast charge when you go on your road trips in the Bolt EV? It's really simple. What I do is I plan my route, I look at where I want to go, and then I look for rapid chargers on the route. I will be making a video on that very soon as to, you know, where you stop and how you do. Is it much bigger than a Zoe? I think it is. I think it is bigger than a Zoe. I think it's significantly bigger than a Zoe. It seems roomy inside. Generic GM, yes, the interior is a bit generic GM. And I find that the floor in this is very useful. The one thing I don't have is the extra load bay floor, which is an optional extra. Let's see if I can show you in here. Because this is the LT and not the Premier. The Premier has an additional floor. You can see the marks for that there, the mouldings right here and here. But that's not what I did. Did I ever drive an EV1? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. How's the range in winter been holding up? Well, the range in winter is very interesting because what you have is the heater on this car is resistive. It's not a heat pump, and so in the winter, yes, your range will be impacted. I haven't done many trips. So the kind of the longest distance trip I did, I recently drove 200 miles between charges, but I had to I only had one person in the car with me. But also, I mean, if I tell you that I've done 150 miles in cold weather with a luggage rack on the back of the car, so one of those little box things that you can put on the hitch, or rack that you put on the hitch, and then a roof rack as well. And so it had the aerodynamic qualities of a brick, but I still got 150 miles out of it, 5 people on board. You know, it was good. So many familiar faces, Alex, indeed. Although I get it in the neck for doing these live streams, not like you. On the i3 Vex, you see a real drop in winter. Yes, you do. Zoe had some issues as well. I do not hold a grudge. About what? What have I missed? What have I missed? So these are the winters coming off. I'm going to actually take a quick look at them now. So these are the winters coming off. And you can see it was leased, sorry. Paying $270 a month. So these are the winter tyres. They've just come off. You've seen that they're really doing really well. There's a bit of scrubbing here because, you know, I have a very torquey car. So there are some maybe bald spots developing. But generally the tread is okay. I don't know why that one is the way it is. That space there seems to have a problem, but everything else looks really good. They're going to have at least another 2 winters, I think, maybe 1, depending on how hard I drive the car. So there we go. These are the tyres. These are the Nokian Hakkapeliitta R2s. They're great. They are great. No, all seasons are not good enough. If you want to have good grip in the winter, you need winter tyres. The Nokian Hakkapeliitta R2s are really great non-studded winter tyres. They are very low rolling resistance, which is great for for use. And they really do work extremely well. I'm very impressed. It is front wheel drive. I had my Nissan Leaf had Nokian Hakkapeliittas on 1 year, and then I liked them so much I put them on the rest of my fleet, or the other car, and I will continue to use them until I have some other cars. What's the difference? Winters make a big difference, a meaningful difference. Yes, they do. Love the show and I never turn off, even though I have an incredibly short span of attention. Well, I have a fairly short span of attention. There's a video on the way about the Boring Company today. I just finished it. It's going to be uploaded, hopefully, by the time I get home, although I'm still having knock-on effects from that server issues. With the winter tyres, the range isn't affected too much, not with Nokians, because Nokians are designed in Finland, and there are lots of people up in Scandinavia who drive EVs, and so I'm sure they get lots of testing and have low rolling resistance, etc, etc. Overall, we've had no issues, no bangs or cracks or anything with the car. The snow in southern England lasted about 4 days. Didn't get to use even winter socks. Have I done any winter range tests? Yeah, I mean, I'm getting about 150, 200 miles depending on how I drive, basically, and how much I use the heater. I will admit that. What's the top range in the summer for the Bolt? I have exceeded EPA, so I think I've managed to get 245 on one occasion. But I mean, we don't get a whole lot of snow here in Portland. But you can't see it, but right over, let me get my bearings, right over there is a bloody great mountain. It's a volcano, don't you know, and it's great for skiing in the winter, and I like going up there. So you know, you're up at about 6,000 feet and they get a lot of snow, so you know, and it's only 60 miles out of town, so you know, you get a lot of snow up there. So all these people are coming in to get their winter tyres taken out. How important is active cooling for the battery? Yeah, well, I'm actually quite glad that I've got active cooling on this vehicle, which is one of the reasons actually why we ended up going for this car rather than waiting for the Leaf. So there we go. No Tesla news. What do you mean no Tesla news? It's very bizarre. So lots of people getting studded tyres taken off and winter tyres taken off, and then we go from there. How's your Optima battery doing in your Leaf? Can you use a 12-volt motorcycle battery in the Leaf? You can. I wouldn't want to. The Optima battery is doing great. I top it up once a week on a top-up charge, and that seems to be helping a great deal. I mean, obviously, it's also about winter. It's also about warming in the winter. I've had situations where the car has used some heat to keep itself warm. It's rare, but it does happen. So we've got the second winter tyre has just come off, so let's have a look at this one. This is the second winter tyre. This one is from the right front, sorry. And this one, again, looking really good. Just looking really good. The bolt is hard on its tyres. Again, you can see a little bit of wheel spin action here, just like you would on any high torque vehicle. And that's the big challenge for me on this car, is I do like my acceleration. How many miles on the bolts? Just under 10,000, so 9,800 and some. So there we go. So let's see if we can get the my winter tyres my summer tyres are going on now, so we're just balancing that rear one. That's one of my summer drivers. I don't have accident avoidance. No, my traction control does not. My traction control does not kill all of my wheel spin. There's like a half second, maybe 2, before the car decides, yeah, I'm gonna... Well, I don't drive like that all the time, obviously. How much battery sizes? 60 kilowatt hours. Boot, trunk, not too big. It is. The bolt, it has stopped and it's coming back. This is my boot space. So you can see, this is my boot space. It's quite deep. Yeah, that's how deep it is. I mean, that's a bottle of Mountain Dew. Oh, I can make the wheels spin on any car. Some of it is me, I will admit. Some of it is me, and some of it is me being cheeky. But some of it is, you know, just how much air pressure do I normally run? I normally run at recommended pressure, and that's because if you run over pressure, you lose control. So you increase your rolling resistance. Sorry, you decrease your rolling resistance. And that means that you'll lose a little bit of traction. And it also means that you'll wear the tyres out a little more. If you have them under, same thing. You'll do the opposite. Would I consider buying a salvaged Leaf? I don't know. No, when I'm on camera, I'm very good. I never seen you hoon around. Is it possible to hit any DC? Yes, it is on the Bolt. What charger do I use for the Bolt? I use a Siemens home charging station. I can't remember the model number. But I got it because you can tweak the power output, and the power output in our house is not quite right. Will my wife get the new Nissan Leaf? I don't know. Will I buy a salvage Nissan Leaf? Probably not, because I don't have anywhere to work on it. And will I keep my winter tyres in the garage? Yes, I will. These are going to come home with me, and they'll sit on my rack at home. I like your accent. I like English. Yeah, I'm English, although I live in the United States. Keep it up. Have Jaguar been in touch to let you test drive the I-Pace? Not yet. Not yet. The problem at the moment is that Transport Evolved, we are running, we have made our first year profit. We made a profit last year, which is great. And we have just enough money at the moment to give me an income. I mean, I earned less than minimum wage last year, so what I'm doing is less than minimum wage, but it has allowed us to expand, but not enough to get somebody else on board. And to make more videos and to do more video stuff, we need more people, because I can't do everything all the time. So, no, I haven't had anybody contact me about the I-Pace. I'm not Robert, unfortunately, so I don't get people falling over me to give me cars. So there you go. What? I don't even understand that question, so I'm not going to answer it. has the Bitcoin donation linked at all? It has. I mean, I'm getting some people donating, which is lovely. So my goal this year for Transport Evolved, going off topic for the Bolt for a second, is we will get someone joining us hopefully as an intern midway through the year, and then hopefully we can get them trained up for CES. Has Kate done the video yet? No, she's given me the video. I just haven't edited it because editing videos takes time. And I've written 4 shows today and filmed. Sorry, I've written 3 shows and filmed 4 today and edited 1, so that I'm ahead because I've got some family stuff coming up that I've got to be ready for. So that's what's been going on. So some people do use spare reels. What's the update on Kate's RAV4 EV? It's sick. It's got a problem with the steering pump and it's making a weird noise. The problem is these cars are getting old, and so they start to suffer the same problems as any other car. Sick as in good? No, sick as in not very well. Anyway, back to the Bolt. Would I recommend the Chevrolet Bolt to anybody? Yes, I agree with Doug DeMuro. It is a sleeper car. It's kind of an underappreciated car. How's the seats on the Bolt, on the comfort? I don't mind them. And I'm not exactly small, I'm a fat little cow. But I think that the Bolt EV seats are actually pretty good. I like the comfort and I like the way that it's set up. Do I live in an area where I have car inspections? No, and it winds me up actually. It's very bizarre. There's no roadworthiness test in the state of Oregon. The state of Washington, which is literally like 20 miles up the road, they do have mandatory vehicle testing, at least I think they do. If you register a car or you buy second hand, all they just do is check that everything works. So there we go. And what we're seeing now is we've got all 4 tyres off. We've got the first of my summer tyres on. Do I have access to the HOV lanes when you drive on the Bolt on the motorway? No, because there are no HOV lanes. Well, there are. There are no HOV lanes. This one here is actually a hotel. So that is that's Extended Stay America. How do I stop people running unroadworthy clunkers? It depends whether they get caught by the police or not. You know, that's pretty much it. Will an all-wheel drive version of the Bolt ever come out? Probably not, because it doesn't need. I mean, there's an SUV version. Do I regret leasing the Bolt? Not one bit. This car has been rock solid, really rock solid. The infotainment system's a bit ropey sometimes, and I have to do the equivalent of Control-Alt-Delete, but then that's nothing different to any other EV out there. So, you know, we've got all 4 tyres off now, and so you can see they've done pretty well. These are all 4 of my winter tyres. They'll go back on the Bolt, although they might end up on the Leaf because we've got 2 sets. I do think that the Bolt should have been released in the UK, and here's the reason why. One of the chief designers of the Bolt is a Brit. I don't know if you know that. One of the lead designers on the Bolt EV was a Brit, and he lives in South Korea. But he designed a Bolt. And it is a very European car. I love it. I think that's probably why. Will the Kona EV ever come to the States? Absolutely. 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 I think it will. You cancelled your Model 3 reservation and got a Bolt. Don't tell anybody. All American EVs designed by foreigners. Well, I'm one too. There's no salt, really. We don't use salt all that much around here. I mean, there's not a huge amount of salt on the roads, and we haven't had a really hard winter. So, why no ACC or lane assist? It is an option. You can get radar-assisted cruise control, and you can also get lane departure warning and all of the other things. Oh, look at that. Ooh. That's nice. I'm sorry, that sounds nice. I shouldn't say that. It's a gorgeous sound though. So there we are. So, any more Bolt questions? You're not supposed to like that. How much to charge is it per kilowatt? The price I pay per kilowatt is about, as I say, I think it's about 15-20 cents per kilowatt hour. I tend not to charge in public anymore because I don't need to. Like when I'm doing long distance trips, yes. But I don't mind paying a little more. How many threads on a Bolt? That's funny. That's funny. There you go. My first tyre has gone in. So I've got these 3 more tyres to go in there. And you'll notice if you're in the UK, look at that, Ecotricity UK. Different to Ecotricity from New Zealand, which is very interesting. I should do a collaborative episode with Crichton from Red Dwarf. I can't do it. I can't do it. I was going to do a Crichton impression. I'm sorry, sir. Do you mean Crichton as well? No, yeah, Robbie is lovely. I love him to bits. I was really saddened to hear about his dog this morning. One of his dogs passed away. His old dog passed away. His other dog was hit by a car a couple of weeks ago, so I feel really sorry for him actually. So where was I? Yeah, we will do a crossover at some point. Do the kids love the Bolt? My daughter likes it. My son thinks I drive too fast. So is this EV subsidy being pulled off by the UK government? I don't know. Your dog just had a hysterectomy. Well, I hope she gets better soon. Hi from the Netherlands, yes. Well, anyway, we're soon going to be finishing this hangout because my tyres are nearly done and I've got children to deal with. Hello from Arizona. It's very windy here in Portland. This is Portland weather today. It's 20 degrees Celsius. £4,700 subsidy in the UK until further notice. That's rather nice. That's rather nice indeed. Any hints on what's coming up this week on the show? Yeah, we've got some stuff. We've got a Rimac video tomorrow. I hope you'll all like that. Why we should be paying attention to Rimac. That's been written and filmed. We've also got a bit of an update on the studio over in Transport Evolved Take 2. What time is it there? It is 3:27 in the afternoon. A week ago, it would have been 2:27 because our clocks went forward on Sunday morning. So we are now on summertime. So for the next 2 weeks, we are 7 hours behind the UK instead of 8. So that's it. Am I going to get any loaner cars next week? Am I getting any loaner cars? Not yet, no. I don't. I haven't really looked into that yet. They're just talking up my wheels, which is great. Oh, sorry, I just dropped the phone, nearly. They are tweaking my tyres. They're tweaking them up, and then I can get in and drive home. When will the Kona EV release in the States? I have no idea. I'm sorry. I have no idea. I'm doing my stuff. It's indoors. Okay, we're good to go. We're just waiting for the paperwork. And then I think we're good to go. So, I'm going to actually... Oh, they've got the key. The key has run away. So I might have to do the trick. This car can be opened using your smartphone, which is nice, but I would have to exit this app and connect to it that way. I'm getting my tyres switched over because it's the summertime tyres now, which is good. Time for summer tyres. It'll feel very different on summer tyres. I'm not a fan of these Michelin Energy Savers, so we'll see what happens. I don't think I'll be able to be quite as much of a hoonigan on them as I am. So there we go. I'm just going to get in the car, so there'll be a slight pause, and then I'll continue Can you please do more live streams like this? Well, a lot of people complain, and frankly I've had a bit of a crap week, pardon my French, with my live streams. So I've got no desire to do them on the main channel normally. This is a special occasion. If you want more, if you want to say more of these live streams, go subscribe to Transport Evolved Take 2. Maybe somebody in the chat, they're going to drive it out for me. Bless. They normally let me drive it out. They normally let me drive it out. But here she comes. Artemis, bless her. Come on, give it some welly. Here she comes. Bless her little cotton socks. So I just got mansplained to, which I absolutely hate, by a guy at the tyre place who's not one of the regulars. Bless him. It's causing my car to have a hissy fit because it thinks it doesn't have any air in one of the tyres, which is not good. So I'm going to drive back to my house, and when I get back to my house, I can finish this stream off because I don't live very far away from here. So, I mean, the Bolt has been a really reliable car. There's been very little go wrong with it. In fact, there hasn't been anything going wrong with it. And this car it's really a lovely vehicle. I really enjoy driving it. Somebody said, are we in the UK? No, I think we just have reversed, because cameras. I am in the United States right now. I'm in Portland, Oregon. And yeah, I think they've screwed my TPMS, but we'll see. They're reckoning that it's going to fix itself. On the other hand, I remain to be convinced. Oh, there it goes. They were right, I was wrong. I stand corrected. So there we go. So I mean, this car has been really good on winter tyres. The heating has, the AC has some quirks, just like the Leaf has some quirks. The big quirk for me is that the temperature sensors don't seem particularly accurate. How does the tax credit work on the lease for the Bolt? They take the tax credit off at the point of leasing. So last year I had a tax bill of about £4.5 grand. Oh, this year I've just paid my tax, about £4.5 grand. Unlike jolly old Great Britain, which has sent me a fine letter, but we're not going to complain about that. HMRC has sent me a fine, and I can't get hold of them, and my tax record is locked for reasons that I won't go into. But my tax record's locked, which means that your regular tax advisor at the HMRC cannot access my tax records. And I keep ringing them up and going, you need to ring me between these hours, because they have to send a special unit. They have to get a special unit to call me. And they sent me a fine for not filing my taxes. And I said, well, I sent you a letter saying that I no longer have to file anymore. Them's the law. So I've got fines that are accruing because HMRC haven't done their job. But anyway, that's, you know, there we go. I don't have to pay UK tax. I know that. HMRC have decided that it's not the case. So we'll figure it out. We'll fix it. That's no worries. So someone was asking about the infotainment system, and the infotainment system in this car, I have done the USB update. So I've now got a full screen. Obviously I'm not going to touch my phone while I'm driving because that is illegal. But when I get back to the house, I will show you the update worked really well, and I now have full access to the screen using Android Auto, so that's good. And the thing that you do notice about these tyres, the summer tyres compared to the winter tyres, is that they're a lot quieter. So the Michelin Energy Savers are really quite nice and quite quiet. The winter tyres are very noisy. but that's partly because of how they're made and they're designed. You know, they've got more sipes, more cuts, more slits in the tyre, and so they will be a little bit more noisy. I can't read any of your questions right now, but I'm going to be back at my house in like probably in about 3 minutes, so just bear with me while I keep talking about the Bolt EV. The radio has a bug which was present on our Volt when we had a Volt in the UK, and that is that the radio, if you turn the radio off or you mute the radio, sometimes it will just turn itself back on randomly, which is a little bit like the Model 3, I hear, which is it really annoys me. So I normally leave my car on my local PBS station, and then if there's an issue, at least I'm not going to get blasted by some random shock jock from somewhere. Now, several people have asked me about the paddle, the regenerative paddle on demand braking. It works really well. I drive in L all the time, which gives me the most regen as I lift off the accelerator. The button that I just pressed there, that gives me some extra regenerative braking, thank you. And I find that really useful. I don't use the brake pedal really at all anymore, unless I'm just holding the car down. So there we go. It's quite nice living here because there's a lot of EVs in my complex. There's a couple of Teslas, there's a couple of Volts. I haven't seen any other Bolts. I think there might be another Nissan Leaf. And the reason why we chose this apartment complex when we were looking for somewhere to rent before we buy was that they have garages underneath the houses. They're townhouses rather than, you know, usual apartments, and that means that we have a place to charge at night, which is great. So I'm actually going to pull out front. No, I'm not. I'm going to go in nose first because I'm going to have to go out first in the morning. So I'm going to pull in nose first, which is unusual. And then I should be able to take out my tyres and stack them up. And if you've got some questions you want to ask me about the Bolt, now is a good time to do it because I've got back to the house. Okay, so I've arrived. Let's see what people are asking me. Here we go. All right. Do you like EV vloggers on YouTube beside yourself? I'll answer that in a question because this is a Bolt. What's the longest trip you've taken in the Bolt? I've done 500-mile round trip before in a day. Do I like other EV bloggers? Yeah, of course I do. I like Robert on Fully Charged, not so much the other guy. Johnny's lovely. I love Johnny. I watch Ian Sampson. I know Ian, yeah. Are the headlights in the US standard as in poor, in need of a serious upgrade? Well, people drive long distance. And this is one of my pet hates. People drive long distance. People drive in the US with their high beams on all the time. The Bolt has LED headlights, which are nice and bright. So, in fact, actually, if I pop out now, you might see them. So here we go. There we go. Oops. Press the right button, Nikki. So those are the headlights. Rather stylish, I think. I like them. This is the luggage rack we have on the Bolt in the if we're doing long distance stuff, and this is the luggage rack that sits underneath the Bolt and connects here. So there we go. My longest trip is 500 miles, as I've said. And what we're going to do now, I'll take these nice tyres out, and we're going to put them over here. The leaf tyres have already come out, they've already gone, so really there's only this left to do, and then I'm going to get on and give you a nice video. So goodbye Nokian Huckpolitas, see you next season. They'll stay here until November. Winter tyres, studded winter tyres in the state of Oregon are legal from November through until April. Obviously these are not studded winter tyres, so I could have kept them on, but there's really no point because the outside temperature today is 20 degrees Celsius, and at 20 degrees, I mean, these tyres wouldn't last very long at all. So obviously trying to do this one-handed is a bit pointless, but I'm sure we will get it. So, hello. There we go. So that is really it. I'm going to, I don't know why they have the bong. It's, I think, to let you know that you've left a key in the ignition or something. It's a bit weird, if you ask me. All right, so now you can see this is the thing we use for the dogs. It's nice because you can unzip that, and then you can have the stuff goes. Imperial system. I refuse to use a temperature system that is based on the temperature of a man's wife on a day when she had a fever. I'm just not going to do it. How many EVs do I have now? I have 2. I've owned lots of EVs, and actually there is a video on the way about all the EVs I've owned. I didn't have a chance to finish it, so telling me I left the keys in the car. So that is, there we go. Thank you very much. The tyres are in plastic to keep them safe for the winter, just to keep bugs and stuff off, really. And just another hour, there will be a new video coming up on the Boring Company, so stay right there. See you soon. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, support us on Patreon and all that. And as I said at the beginning, if you've watched this and you moan about the fact that this is a live stream and you don't like it, don't watch the bloody thing. See ya.